Hello, my dear students. Welcome to my online class of today pertaining to threats to biodiversity, a continuation of my previous lecture with reference to biodiversity and its different aspects. Good morning to all of you. So today, after having learned about so many aspects of biodiversity, we are learning few threats that we are posing for the destruction of biodiversity. And you can see here what are the collage like slide which will tell you the possible ways through which we are posing a serious threat to the biodiversity. Now, this slide will highlight all possible reasons of today which are giving a big threat to the biodiversity. One is habitat destruction, another one is alien invasive species, third one is genetic pollution, fourth one is overexploitation, fifth one is hybridization, sixth one climate change, seventh one diseases, and human overpopulation. These are all the various factors which are posing a heavy threat, a serious threat to the biodiversity. You may be asked for two more questions. List the major threats that are existing for biodiversity today. If you write any four of them, that should be enough. Now we shall take each factor and discuss in bit detail to understand the concepts clearly. First one, what we mentioned is just a minute. Sorry for the interruption. First factor is habitat destruction. Habitat destruction is defined as the complete elimination of a localized or regional ecosystem, leading to the total loss of its former biological function. Means, since so many decades or millions of years, one particular population would have selected some habitat, and if that is destroyed, automatically the species get disturbed. They first stop eating and then they stop breeding, and that's how their number starts dwindling. Thereby, after a few years, that particular species may get lost. For your information, if there are too many guests or if we are disturbed from our house and we are asked to live elsewhere for a few months, same thing even we start feeling, right? So habitat destruction is one of the major threats to biodiversity. Then there is one more concept called habitat fragmentation, which is actually the secondary effect of habitat destruction. It occurs when populations are isolated because the links between habitat patches have been destroyed. So this is called habitat fragmentation, which is also another factor, which is posing a serious threat to the biodiversity. Okay? Then here is a slide that will tell you about habitat destruction and fragmentation, how we have destroyed the habitat due to urbanization, and the moment the habitat is destructed, that automatically leads to fragmentation. Okay. So then next factor, threat to biodiversity, is invasion by exotic species. For example, when this Poropis juliflorian, that is a thorny plant species. When this was spread in the dry parts of North India, which was the local species, that is Acacia nilotica, was totally removed. Acacia nilotica was the original species. When this new species, started invading the same area, the original species which was dwelling there for decades together, Acacia nilotica, was removed. And so also the spread of the South American flowering bush, Lantana camara, in the sub-Himalayan belt. So the moment a new species, exotic species, Andhra Videshi Tali, it enters the particular given habitat, what species were present earlier locally, they get destroyed. So invasion by exotic species is another serious threat to the biodiversity. Okay. Then, to give you one more example, when mallards, for instance, they were introduced in a particular habitat where Hawaiian duck, were living, that led to a lot of genetic extension. That led to a lot of sort of genetic extension by breeding with them. So mallards and Hawaiian ducks, when they were bred, the original species got lost. So also a fish native to Texas, it got eliminated by hybridization with introduced mosquito fishes. So like this, genetic pollution brings about genetic extinction of the original species also. So even that should be avoided. Then let us see what is genetic pollution. This occurs because of uncontrolled hybridization to improve the varieties. Genetic pollution is detrimental to very rare species, what we saw earlier, few minutes back, that come into contact with the abundant ones, and the abundant species immediately colonize the new areas, vanishing the rare species, and this alters the genetic pool, which is an irreversible change. So, genetic pollution because of uncontrolled hybridization is once again a serious threat to the biodiversity. Next, our environmental pollution, again poses a serious threat. You can see here air pollution, water pollution, how the fish fauna has been brought to the death state, and this is again one more threat to the biodiversity. And then over exploitation. To give you an example, these mangroves have been cleared for fuel wood, and that's how the biodiversity get lost. Then this prawn farming, prawns are arthropods which are of economic importance and they are edible. Farming of this prawn has led to decrease in the habitat that is essential for breeding the marine fish. So like this, over exploitation also happens to be a serious threat to the biodiversity. Okay. Then next serious threat is poaching. Poaching is a serious threat to biodiversity, especially biodiversity of selected species, which are related to large economic benefits. For example, skin and bones from tigers, and then ivory, danta from elephants, horn from rhinos, perfume from the musk deer, like this. So, for certain particular products, these animals are killed and and poaching, and that's how poaching becomes a serious threat to the biodiversity. All right. In this context, I should tell you some sort of creating awareness, with the aim of creating awareness against this poaching and its bad effects and its threatening effects to biodiversity. Few good Kannada movies have come up. First one is Gandhada Gudi, second one is Gandhada Gudi Part 1, and third one is Gandhada Gudi Part 2. So these movies do carry a message how to protect the biodiversity and what are the serious threats, especially poaching, a serious threat to the biodiversity. Okay. Then, in the same way, these bears are killed for their gallbladders. And then the whale shark, a rare whale shark, a highly endangered species, it is being killed off the coast of Gujarat. And in the same way, the corals and shells are also collected for exploitation, export. They are collected for export and sold on the beaches of Chennai and Kanyakumari. If you visit those beaches, you can see even today how they are being sold. So once again, these human anthropogenic activities for the selfishness and economic benefits of humans are posing a serious threat to biodiversity. Okay. Then sometimes, over exploitation of the plants because of their dubious medicinal value, they are being over harvested. There is a plant called Rauwolfia serpentina that contains few alkaloids, reserpine, like that, which are of medicinal significance. Normally that is given for hypertension patients. Okay. And then in the same way, just like Rauwolfia serpentina, Nux vomica, Datura, etc., they are all medicinal plants. They are exploited, they are over harvested because of their medicinal value, and that's how, they become endangered, right? Then the collection of garden plants like orchids, ferns, moss, etc., and then even sandalwood, ಗಂಧದ ಮರ ಕೂಡ ಹಾಗೇನೆ, ಚಂದನ ಅಥವಾ ಗಂಧದ ಮರ ಕೂಡ. So whatever it is, ultimately it is the anthropogenic activities, human activities, which are posing a serious threat to the biodiversity. Okay. Then, if at all so, how are we going to address this? How are we going to address? Okay. So, how are we going to control them? How to address the threats of biodiversity? There should be sustainable utilization of resources, number one. Number two, international trade in wildlife should be highly regulated. Number three, the poaching and hunting of wildlife should be prevented as far as possible and practicable. Then effort should be made to reduce the level of pollutants in the environment. And then, of course, it goes without telling, public awareness should be created, a sort of environmental education regarding biodiversity and its importance for the living organisms. Then the habitats of migratory birds should be protected by bilateral and multilateral agreements. The over-exploitation of useful products of wildlife should be prevented. Environmental laws should be strictly followed. We do have certain environmental laws and acts, but today they are available only on papers. And people have realized that by bribing, anything can be done. So this particular aspect should be taken care of. And these are all few tips regarding how to address the threats to biodiversity. And along with this, I have to introduce two more concepts to you people. What are endangered species and what are endemic species? What are endangered species? A very favorite question of paper sitters for 2 marks. An endangered species is a population of organism which is at a risk of becoming extinct because it is either few in numbers or threatened by changing environmental or predation parameters. I repeat, endangered species means an endangered species is a population of organism which is at a risk of becoming extinct because it is either few in numbers or threatened by changing environmental or predation parameters. Here in this slide you can see the elephant and also the Indian lion, which are treated as endangered species today. So if we don't apply corrective measures to increase the population of these endangered species, after a few years, they may become extinct. That is, it is an alarming state. So that's what I meant by endangered species. They need to be protected. One more concept along with endangered species is endemism or endemic species. When species are found in particular geographical region because of its isolation, soil and climatic conditions, it is said to be endemic. When it is found in a particular region, it is called that species is called endemic species, and the phenomenon is called endemism. Okay, here you can see one plant that is grown in Himalayas, which is endemic, and it is seen only in Himalayas, and this Nilgiri langur, which is restricted to the Nilgiri hills. Okay, so to give you a few more examples, some endangered species and endemic species of India. One endangered species I was telling you, Asiatic lion, which survives today only in the Gir forests of Gujarat, and it is also known as Indian lion or Persian lion, as I was telling you earlier. In 2005, Gujarat government reported only 359 Asiatic lions, in the Gir forests of Gujarat. One more species is Nilgiri Thar. Nilgiri Thar is endemic to Nilgiri hills and the south portion of Western Ghats in the states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala in South India. All right. One more species is rhinoceros. Rhinoceros is the smallest rhino, weighing about 500 to 800 kg. There is drastic decline in the number of these rhino, and rhinoceros today happens to be one of the most endangered species. Other endangered species happen to be Asiatic cheetah, Bengal fox, gaur, Indian elephant, marbled cat, markhor, etc. Okay. So these are all some of the endemic and endangered species. You have to get ready for two questions. What are endemic species? Give examples. What are endangered species? Give examples. And at this juncture, you should also have an idea of red data book where all endangered species have been listed. Okay. Other endemic species, lion-tailed macaque, Nilgiri langur, and brown palm civet cats antivalla. Then Sapria himalaya, and then Vaveria lurida, Nepenthes species, etc. These are few other plants and animals which have been considered endemic, to date. Then, dear students, let me end this talk on threats to biodiversity and endemism and endangered species with one very popular quote from Mahatma Gandhi. The world has enough for everyone's need, but not everyone's greed. So, my dear students, I think I have made the concepts clear. With this, I end my talk. See you in the